So, hello everyone. We have 2 weekends behind us in the Monoposto Esports main championship and one in the MP Juniors Championship. And I think it's time to finally discuss them properly in our podcast. So, uh, first things first, Bahrain, the round number one of the season. Everyone was really hyped for it, I would say, and we didn't really know what to expect. But straight from the very first round in Phoenix, pole for him after he really dominated the second half, maybe, of season one. He's on pole here, and Uruguay fast, second place for him, and after he got promoted to the main team after his MP Juniors title. And P2 is a pretty solid result for him, in my opinion. 2/10, only 2/10 behind in Phoenix. We know how fast in Phoenix is. So P3 is Adam in his K Racing car. He's 3/10 behind Uruguay Fast and 5/10 behind in Phoenix, so kind of close to those guys, and also top three and three different teams in that top three. Next, we had Calderin from Ferrari, Uruguay Fast teammate, who was 4/10 behind Adam. And one important thing, the current world champion, Big Buns, qualified in P5, and we still don't know what happened to him that weekend. But anyways, that wasn't really the best result for him in the opening round of the season. Talking about, rookies, we had Sparks, of course, we talked about him a lot. So Sparks in his debut qualifying was in P9, and that is a pretty nice result. So only 2 seconds from Infionics. Well, I say only because Infionics is so fast that even 2 seconds behind him is pretty good. And as we know, according to the current format, the top 16 advance to the knockouts. And yeah, the rest of the grid, you can see it on your screens. But I want to pass the word to Meister so he can talk about the Bahrain Knockouts, and they will appear on your screens shortly. Then, word to you, Meister.
Yeah, so qualifying was good. We had some familiar faces in Phoenix on pole, which is with his eighth pole position in a row, which is quite spectacular. And Uguay Fast in P2 on his rookie outing into the main grid. That was a very good showing from him. So in the knockout rounds, it's basically divided. Just to explain to everyone who's new to the podcast, it's divided into two sections. And if you look on your screen where you can see the knockouts, there's a blue line, and everyone below that blue line, they are fighting for P9. That's the highest they can achieve, and everyone above the blue line can achieve P1. So in Phoenix, who qualified first, would be going into his first duel versus Renisco, who qualified 8th. Coderin for Ferrari, who qualified 4th, would be going against Big Buns, who qualified 5th. Uguay Fast would be going, who qualified 2nd, would be versing Bacon, who qualified 7th. Adam, who qualified 3rd, would be versing Krish, who qualified 6th. Sparks, and under the blue line, Sparks, who qualified 9th, would be versing Colucci, who qualified 16th. Bituco would be, who qualified 12th, would be versing Visi Domini, who qualified 13th. Silent Driver, who qualified 10th, would be versing Osama, who qualified 15th, and myself, who qualified 11th, would be versing Endrick, who qualified 14th. So as we going through the knockouts, Infiionix versus Renisco, Infiionix won out, and that means he would go on to the semifinals versus Kodarin, who also won against Big Buns. So it just seems like Big Buns just hasn't really found his pace yet in the beginning of the season. Seems to be struggling a bit. Hasn't really found his footing yet at the beginning of this season. So he would go on to verse Renisco, who in a redemption round, and that's who would be versing there. Uguay beat out Bacon, and who would be versing Adam, who beat out Krish, meaning Bacon and Krish would be versing each other, and Uguay and Adam would be versing each other in the semis. Bacon and Krish would be versing each other in the redemption round. Krish beat Bacon and Buns beat Renisco. But here's where what we're really looking for is the fight for the podium 1, 2, and 3. Uguay beat out Adam, who would be versing Kodarin for P3 after Infiionix beat Kodarin, and it will be a fight of Uguay versus Infiionix. And a lot of us were expecting Infiionix to come out on top, but actually he didn't. I think what he said is that his game had a bit of an issue that lost him time. So yeah, that's a bit unfortunate for him, but it means we had a new winner in the MP Esports main grid, and that would be Uguay Fast, and it's really good for him because he's showing that he has good pace. From the second division, Sparks beat Colucci to verse Bitco, who beat Visidomini. Silent Driver beat Osama to verse Meister, who beat Endrick. And from those matchups, Silent beat Meister to verse Sparks, who beat Bituko, and Silent eventually came on top to take P9, Sparks in 10th, and 11th and 12th was Meister and Bituko. So that sums up how the duels went.
Thank you very much. And before we proceed to the Australia race, let's talk a bit about the constructor setting. So first of all, remember that we have a new point system this season. So it's not like 25, 18, 15, like the ones are used in real F1. Instead, people would score 32 points for a win, 26 points for the second place, 22 for third, then 18, 15, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. So slightly modified point system, I would say. But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the constructor settings, and it's Ferrari on top with 50 points. 50 points for Ferrari after the first round of the season. Nearly 25 points behind them is Nocciolina. Then K Racing with 22 points. Nismo is very close behind them with 21 points. McLaren 20 points. 3 teams covered by only 2 points. And then Mercedes with 10 points. They earn P6. And the rest of the teams are on your screens. And well, let's now continue our discussion and talk about Australia weekend, the round 2, and that's on Rick. So Rick will tell you about this Australian quali.
All right, thank you. And now let's bring the topic everyone wants to know about, the top 3 in Australia qualifications. Let's say that I'm not surprised to see 2 names in it, and the names are the one of Infinix and Ogway Fast, because they have already proved themselves to be really fast drivers, and yeah, I think we can expect more from them, and we'll probably see them contending the title at the end of the season. And also, big congratulations to Adam, as he got his first top 3 of the season in qualifications. But a bigger shout to Infinix, who was able to get his 9th pole in a row. So, well, let's say that is a really great achievement. And yeah, well, I would also notice that 4 drivers from P3 to P6, from 4 different teams, so that gives us an idea of how much the drivers are good, were covered by only 1/10, and these 4 drivers are Adam, Big Buns, Krish, and Kodarin. That Adam goes from 1.6 seconds, and from Kodarin, which goes to 1 and 7 seconds. And we can also notice a big gap from P6 to P7, that's around 7/10. And that's, yeah, let's say that it's really a bit. And also, let's go to the rookies, because we can see that Sparks, the famous YouTuber Sparks, was able to get his first top 8. He did 1 minute and 8/10. So that's really, really good. Also, we got Silent D from Nismo, who nearly got in the top 8. He just missed by 1/10, yeah. Also, we have a small error I can now notice because here says that Nab, a new Lotus driver that came from BMW, he was able to get 15th place. And yeah, let's say that as his first race here in this new season, it's a really nice position for me. Also, seeing his last places last year, because they were not that good. Also, talking about other rookies, we got still Kodarin, who got 6th place. So again, a really nice shout to Ferrari, who was able to get himself to the top 6 with both of his drivers. And also, well, let's say that Civetta and BMW are still looking to get nice positions, because we can see that even if Sparks got the 8th place, we can see that the other driver, Messi, went in 17th place, which is like a better result, as it had the 2nd in a row, I think, without 0 points. Also, BMW has got the reserve driver, Loco, in 60th place, and Colucci, me, in last place. I can tell that was such a bad. Yeah, that was a really disappointing qualifying. Yeah, and yeah, I think that's all. And I would give again the word to the other guys, and they will talk about knockouts.
All right, thank you very much for that qualifying overview. And now I will talk about the Australian knockouts. And it was quite exciting, to be honest. And, well, you see it on your screens, first of all. So we'll talk about the most interesting pairs. So, Envionics versus Sparks. Well, I was rooting for Sparks, not gonna lie. But at the same time, I knew, Envionics is just too good for Sparks. It's only his 2nd race of this Monoposto Esports Championship. Yeah, I mean for Sparks, and Envionics is quite an experienced driver, so no surprise Envionics advanced to the semifinals, but Sparks wasn't able to win the redemption duel because Krish from McLaren beat Darren, and well, he ended up, let me check, well, Sparks ended up in P8 and Krish was in P5. So the most exciting duel of this knockout is probably M.F1 versus Big Buns in the semi-finals. That was the clash of the century because, well, Big Buns, the current world champion, M.F1 the rising star and the main title contender this year, dare say this, even if Uguay Fast won in Bahrain. And Big Buns was able to get that win. He found the pace he needed in Bahrain and advanced to the finals, where Uguay Fast waited for him because Uguay Fast beat Nismo and Adam to advance to the final for the second time in a row. And that is just incredible. It was a really good performance from the Ferrari man. Yeah, it's just so great to see him out there fighting for that win. And he got that win. Yeah, beating Big Buns in the final. So now Uguay Fast has a win against M.F1 and Big Buns. But M.F1 was able to get P3, beating Adam in that match for the third place, if you can call it like that. So if we look at the bottom of the screens, below this blue line, well, what we can see here, Silent Driver from Nismo. He tried to get another P9, but was denied by one of our hosts today. Meister was able to finish P9 ahead of the Nismo F1 team driver. So I was happy for Meister, but kind of disappointed for the team as well. But anyways, it is what it is, really. So what can we see else? I don't know. Visidomini again was eliminated in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. Bituko beat Noob and lost in the semi-finals, sort of semi-finals. Yeah, I think that's kind of sums up the Australian knockouts. And let's now check the standings. Firstly, the driver standings. And it is Uguay Fast, well, 2 wins, 64 points for him. But M.F1, 14 points behind. Maybe he will battle Uguay Fast for that title. Even Big Buns has 41 points. He's not very far away from these two. And maybe he will have a shot at the title as well. Adam, thanks to his incredible consistency, is in P4 with 40 points. Codrin, Uguay Fast's teammate, 30 points. His P5, for example, Silent D, Big Buns' teammate, is again 30 points behind Big Buns. And just like last year, where Silent D had, 100 points less than Big Buns, I think here, straight from the beginning, this situation repeats. And note that the two McLaren drivers sit really, really high in P6 and P7. However, they will want to improve this situation. Spox is P8 and with 12 points. And Bituko is currently lost with 3 points. But it is a really competitive grid, so we'll see maybe some changes throughout the season in this order. Looking into this constructors standings and Ferrari, whoa, 94 points after just 2 rounds, and it looks like they got this. Nismo F1 team with 51 points, Neutralina with 50 points, just 1 point away from still in that P2 from Nismo, it will be interesting to see who gets ahead. And Florida this weekend, McLaren P4, 45 points, and K Racing with technically only one driver, Adam, racing for them because, the other driver, I think it's Hackman. Yeah, Hackman, is just not feeling well. Civetta, the Scuderia Civetta, with 12 points directly behind K Racing, and the rest of the teams are on your screens. So I've been talking quite a lot, and now I need to pass the word to Meister so he can wrap up this episode with a talk about the MP Juniors Championship, because we had round 1 of it in Bahrain and I was a part of it, but I'm not going to talk about myself. So Meister, please do it instead.
Alright, so as some of you will know, we have a junior series for the championship called MP Junior. And although they didn't race with us in the second round at Australia, they did have their first race at round 1 in Bahrain. And the format for the junior series is a bit different to that of the main grid, in the sense that there isn't the dueling aspect. It's all of the drivers submit a time, and according to the fastest to the slowest will determine the points. So out in Bahrain, round 1, Star came out on top with a pretty good pole time. He was pretty fast. He was quite clear of the grid, to be honest. He came out and he took the full 25 points when he won. 12 came out in P2. And one of our own podcast members, Monoposto World, came out P3, which is a wonderful result for him. Kaiser in P4, Elias in P5. He has retired from racing and the podcast, which is a very sad thing for us. We hope we wish him well, and we hope he can find success in whatever he's doing, and hopefully one day he can rejoin us on the podcast. Akil, yeah, this name always gets me, but he's in P6 with 8 points. George is in P7 with 6 points. Dark Knight P8 with 4 points. Noob P9 with 2 points. And Hexley P10 with 1 point. Looking at the constructor standings, Nismo GT Driver Academy have quite a clear lead with 50 points, 20 points ahead of the Ferrari Driver Academy, who are in P2 with 30 points. BMW Nismo Academy P3 with 14 points. Mercedes AMG Academy in P4 with 7 points. And NRT Academy, Lamborghini Driver Academy, and Alfa Romeo Jr. P5, P6, P7, all with 0 points.
Alright, boys, so that's practically it for this episode. If you can have any sort of comments about, I don't know, the following rounds, or maybe these rounds, Australia and Bahrain, just say them right now, because we're about to end this episode. Rick, Meister.
Well, the MP Junior grid will be back again here in Florida. They will be racing again, and it's looking very nice for the fight for pole and the fight for the win. You know, we've had a few surprises so far this season, and we can expect many more. And looking forward to a good season.
Me too. Especially when the grid is so unpredictable. Like, there is no clear favorite here. So it's going to be exciting, and I hope we as a podcast team will continue to deliver and cover these races for you guys. And we'll see you in 2 weeks. I hope exactly, but who knows. So, yeah, see you later, everyone. And thanks for coming, watching, and listening. And it was me, Monoposto, F1 World.
Meister.
And Rick.
Yeah, goodbye, everyone.